We're kicking off with WWE, and over the past few weeks, there has been a lot of changes to Smackdown and Raw, as both shows are now on the USA Network, but there's still some more changes to come. In January, Raw will move over to Netflix, by which point Smackdown will be the sole WWE show on USA, and WrestleVotes reports that the blue brand will fill Raw's role and gain a third hour. Interestingly, this report comes after it was stated that Raw will move back to 2 hours from October 7th and will remain that way for the remainder of its time on the USA Network. WrestleVotes adds that there also have been rumors about SmackDown being added to Netflix after the show airs live on USA in another blockbuster change to the Blue show. If so, it'll mean those on Netflix will be able to keep up to date with SmackDown mere hours after the show airs live, and this will already be the case for fans outside the US. When the Netflix Raw deal was announced, it was said that SmackDown, NXT, and PLEs will also come to the platform, but only for those outside the US. Now it appears fans in the US could also receive SmackDown on Netflix, but only after the show airs live on the USA Network. What are your thoughts on WWE Raw moving to Netflix and SmackDown getting an extra hour? Do you think these changes will help WWE and its fans? Share your thoughts in the comments. On next week's Raw, Jey Uso will challenge Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship, a match that comes at an interesting time in Jey's career. With Roman Reigns feuding with the Bloodline, many expect that Jey will reunite with his cousin soon enough as part of a planned War Games match between the old and new Bloodlines. Now though, WWE may have spoiled plans for Jey, as the company is currently advertising the Yeet Master for all episodes of Raw for the rest of this year, following next month's Bad Blood. This suggests that there are no plans for Jey to go to SmackDown, meaning that Roman Reigns may need to find a different ally for his War Games team, given that Jey will be busy on Raw. As to whether this schedule means Jey will win the Intercontinental title next week, time will tell. And do you think this is the right move by WWE? Let us know down in the comments. Since taking over fully as WWE's head of creative, Triple H's work has been met mostly with positive reviews, with fans appreciating how he does things differently to Vince McMahon. This December, the game will bring back the popular Saturday night's main event show as part of WWE's partnership with NBC, and fans can expect some huge names. On Twitter, Triple H gave a special pre-sale code for the event in Nassau Coliseum and included a poster for the show featuring Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Bianca Belair, and Liv Morgan. Perhaps the most interesting name on the poster, though, is Seth Rollins, who's been out of action since August, and this poster certainly suggests he'll be back on TV later this year. Rollins was written off TV with an attack by Bronson Reed, and we'll have to see if payback is in store for the Australian once Rollins returns to our screens later this year. Recently, things have taken a downturn for Logan Paul. He lost the WWE United States Championship at SummerSlam 2024, and shortly after, Imane Khalif filed a lawsuit against him for cyberbullying, stemming from his misinformation campaign on social media, where he referred to Imane Khalif as a man. Unfortunately, his challenges don't stop there. Now Logan Paul is facing another lawsuit related to his hydration brand Prime, which is accused of trademark infringement. The US Olympic Committee has also filed a lawsuit on similar grounds, indicating serious issues for the brand. The trademark infringement was first spotted through Prime's partnership with NBA star Kevin Durant, describing the drink as the Team USA Kevin Durant drink and Kevin Durant Olympic Prime drink. Phrases used included Olympic, Olympian, Team USA, and going for gold. Now, NASCAR driver Cesar Baccarella has launched a lawsuit against Prime, claiming that the name Prime creates confusion with his supplement line, Alpha Prime. He argued that this confusion has damaged Alpha Prime's reputation and goodwill. On top of that, Refresco, Prime's suppliers, are suing the company for approximately $68 million. They claim that Prime has not been ordering the amounts specified in their contract, leading to significant revenue loss for Refresco, which had established a dedicated production line for the beverage. It appears that Prime is becoming more of a liability than a benefit for Logan Paul. This is just one of several lawsuits Paul and KSI will be dealing with in the near future. Business Insider counted 9 lawsuits in which Prime is the defendant. The lawsuits range from accusations of breach of contract to class action suits that accuse Prime of mislabeling the amount of caffeine in its energy drink. He may need to reduce the controversy surrounding him, as they could lead to severe consequences outside the wrestling ring. Fans have already begun to express their disapproval following his comments about Khalif. Wade Keller of PW Torch reports that WWE's PR team is particularly unhappy with the US Olympic Committee lawsuit and cyberbullying lawsuit with Imane Khalif. WWE is apprehensive that these two suits will tarnish their company, and there is a strong belief that WWE will part ways with Logan as a result. In one of their talent meetings in 2023, WWE had warned employees not to share their views on sensitive topics in public platforms and always sound diplomatic during their interviews. These legal issues come at a particularly unfortunate time for Paul, as he was gearing up for another shot at the WWE United States Championship. The upcoming months are likely to be extremely challenging for him as he navigates these lawsuits alongside his wrestling commitments. Furthermore, if Khalif wins her case, Paul could face a 5-year prison sentence, which may effectively end his wrestling career. What are your thoughts on Logan Paul's situation? Should he be fired or allowed a chance until the verdict on all his lawsuits is out? Sound off in the comments below. It was at SummerSlam that LA Knight captured the United States Championship from Logan Paul, a win that many fans of the megastar felt was long overdue. But before and after his win, Knight has been one of WWE's most popular superstars, and on this week's Smackdown, he'll put the gold on the line against Andrade. Fans eager to see Andrade, already the WWE Speed Champion, win another title, should prepare to be disappointed, as WrestleVotes reports that WWE is very pleased with LA Knight. WWE is said to be thrilled with Knight's merch numbers, and he is expected to have a lengthy reign as US Champion, so fans shouldn't expect it to end tonight at the hands of Andrade. While Andrade will likely not be winning the gold, his loss may not be clean, as it's been reported that one idea considered for the show is for Carmelo Hayes to interfere and cost El Idolo. Hayes and Andrade have delivered bangers on SmackDown, and it was Andrade's victory over Hayes last week, making the score 3-2, that earned him a shot at the US title. A vengeful Hayes could cost Andrade in tonight's match, continuing their feud and leaving Knight open to his next challenger as the reigning United States Champion. But what do you think of this? Do you want to see Carmelo continue his feud with Andrade, or would you have something else happen tonight? Let us know in the comments. This year, many WWE superstars have seen their contracts renewed at the last minute, and now the company is hoping to lock Kevin Owens down to a brand new deal. Both Fightful Select and PW Insider report that Owens has been approached about a new contract but is yet to re-sign, and his current deal is expected to expire at the end of January. That's because it was reported in January 2022 that Owens had signed a 3-year deal with WWE, and that same month, it was reported that Sami Zayn inked a new contract. Given that it was not reported how long Zayn's new deal was for, we can't say for certain his will also expire in 2025, but Owens' current deal is indeed ticking away. WWE has re-signed several names this year, including Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Natalya, and others, and will the former Universal Champion be next on that list? In AEW, the Lucha Bros established themselves as one of the company's top tag teams, but now Penta and Rey Fenix's time working for Tony Khan has ended. Corey Hayes of PWN has confirmed that not only are the brothers out of AEW, but they've signed a multi-year deal with WWE that will see the two go straight to the main roster. The Lucha Bros now join Cody Rhodes, Jade Cargill, Ethan Page, and others as AEW alum turned WWE talent, and we'll have to see how they fare now that they're WWE superstars. Earlier this week, it was reported that Mercedes Moné is getting preferential treatment at AEW events, including a private locker room and being accompanied by her personal entourage. This has allegedly caused friction with other AEW talent, including Saraya and Britt Baker, and now the reigning TBS champion has spoken about her AEW run thus far. In her newsletter, Moné praised AEW's progress and shared her excitement for the company's future, especially the company's partnership with Warner Bros. Discovery. Moné also addressed AEW's critics and said that AEW's progress within 5 years is immense and that the business has especially been on fire since she joined in March of this year. Money changes everything, and ever since Mercedes Moné hit the scene, the business has been on fire. Have fun with that, my Moné haters. Seriously, the future of wrestling looks bright, and it's just exciting to see where wrestling is going to be in the next 5 years. AEW has come so far, and these rumors flying around about their next big moves, I'm here for it. I'm excited to see where we end up, but we've got to stay patient. This company is just 5 years old. I defy anyone to compare our progress at this mark to any other company, past or present. With our talent roster in this move, I think more opportunities will come as WB and Discovery are big ponds to play in. AEW already has a ton of programming and content to offer, but there is a lot of potential and room for more. Your CEO is here to help with all of it. What are your thoughts on Mercedes Moné taking credit for the success of AEW ever since her debut on the big business Dynamite? Sound off in the comments. Vince McMahon is reportedly worth $2.5 billion and has a team of heavyweight attorneys at his disposal. Janel Grant's lawsuit has certainly kept them occupied, but it seems she may not be the only one with a story to tell. During a press conference on September 19th, Janel Grant's attorney Ann Callis mentioned receiving an influx of calls from other alleged victims. However, Callis clarified that they have not been in contact with any current victims. When asked if other victims had come forward since the lawsuit came to light, Callis mentioned that some women did in the beginning, but things changed due to the current situation. However, the attorney added she and her team believe that possible non-disclosure agreements, or NDA, could be preventing other potential victims from speaking up. Ann Callis clarified that she hasn't watched the Netflix documentary, but expressed hope that it will accurately portray Grant's story, though she was not personally involved in its production. Janel Grant's attorney declined to comment on whether her client was invited to participate in the McMahon documentary, but emphasized that Grant has the right to share her story in her own time. She also mentioned that Grant received some initial brief outreach from WWE after the lawsuit was filed, but nothing further since then. Lee Cole asked how Janel would respond to those questioning why she returned to Vince. Callis explained that Janel was coerced, human trafficked, and felt like she had no choice, adding that WWE employees treated her with hostility. Callis concluded that her client had allegedly survived incomprehensible abuse. She further touched upon the trauma suffered by her client, who was suffering from mental health conditions and was sometimes unable to leave home for weeks at a time. Right now, Alberto El Patron is the reigning AAA Mega Champion after dethroning Nick Nemeth at Triple Mania, but the Mexican star has plans to compete elsewhere. Speaking to Sportskeeda, El Patron, known to WWE fans as Alberto Del Rio, openly expressed interest in meeting Tony Khan and hopes to join AEW when the time is right. Alberto added that he was close to Vince McMahon but has his reservations about WWE's new regime and had plenty to say on McMahon and the ongoing lawsuit against him. El Patron shared his belief in McMahon's character and is concerned about how the allegations brought forward by Janel Grant could affect McMahon's legacy in pro wrestling. Alberto added that the accusations should be viewed with skepticism and pointed out McMahon's contributions to wrestling that he feels should be kept separate from personal matters. He said, "The law system works in different ways in every state, but I can tell you this, the law system in America works and it's fair, and they always find the truth. Whenever they do, whatever the truth is, whether it's for one side or the other, it will be a matter of whether people can accept the truth or not. I'm saying this because that's exactly what happened with me. The truth is out there, it's just for the people to see it, but there are still some people who don't want to see the truth. For whatever reason, they continue attacking a man who does nothing but work, provide for his family, and give the best to the wrestling business. When it comes to Mr. McMahon, it's going to be the same. The law system will find the truth, and they'll put it out there. Then it'll be up to the people to either believe that truth or continue attacking Mr. McMahon. Whatever happens, I have to say this, it's not fair that the world is destroying him right now. They're forgetting that none of this beautiful business would be here today the way it is if it wasn't for him. The personal stuff has to be completely separated from what he created in our industry. That's the only thing I find unfair. So to everyone out there, I say this, the law system will find the truth. Be ready." El Patron is one of a few to publicly back McMahon in all of this, and this comes after Mick Foley said he was trying to focus on the positive things Mr. McMahon did for wrestling. The lawsuit is currently on hold pending federal investigation, and we'll have to see what will become of Vince McMahon in the end, as things simply do not look good for him. Over to AEW Dynamite, which this week came to the Mohegan Sun Arena in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, but the show wasn't entirely a pleasant one for one fan. On the Squared Circle subreddit, a fan shared that an overzealous security person confiscated their sign, which made reference to Mercedes Moné and Kazuchika Okada. The sign implies that the pair are in a relationship, but it may not have been what the sign said that led to it being confiscated. The Reddit user stated that the sign was confiscated as AEW didn't want any signs with a blank back, fearing that a fan could write something obscene once they got through the doors. The fans said they would have X'd out the back and even brought their own marker, though bringing a marker certainly implies they planned to write something on the sign after they got into the show. It's also worth adding that Moné recently announced her divorce, saying she was finally free of a bad relationship, so AEW may not have wanted the sign about her kissing Okada for that reason. Whatever the case, the sign was confiscated, and do you think AEW overstepped the mark, or was it fair given that the fan was at their show? Share your thoughts in the comments. Since Bray Wyatt's tragic passing in August 2023, aged 36, many names in the industry have paid tribute to him, and at the latest TNA Wrestling tapings, Jeff Hardy did exactly that. For the taping, Hardy donned face paint similar to The Fiend's creepy mask in a touching tribute to his former colleague and fellow world champion. Bray Wyatt may no longer be with us, but his legacy continues on, as the contributions he made to wrestling remain in the hearts of fans and those of his peers. On Dynamite, Wheeler Yuta spoke with AEW correspondent Alex Marvez about his place in the Blackpool Combat Club, but his head was clearly not in the right place. Yuta has been conflicted ever since the BCC turned on Bryan Danielson at All Out, and this issue led to a notable slip-up by the wrestler during the interview. Speaking about next week, Yuta made reference to Wrestle Dream instead of Grand Slam, and while Marvez quickly corrected him, Yuta, clearly distracted, brushed it off. Later on, a crew member brought Yuta his AEW Trios title, saying he left it behind in the locker room, and Yuta responded saying, "If they need one more favor, I'll beat whoever I need to next week." On social media, many fans labeled Yuta's Wrestle Dream reference as a botch, but on Wrestling Observer Radio, it was revealed that this is part of the storyline. It was explained that AEW's current direction for Yuta involves portraying him as being lost in the clouds, struggling with brain fog and uncertainty over what's next for him in the company. As Yuta continues to navigate this turbulent period, it's becoming clear that AEW is building towards a bigger moment for him, presumably a split from the Blackpool Combat Club. If that happens, then a potential alliance with Bryan Danielson seems inevitable, but how and when that will happen remains to be seen. This week's Dynamite opened with Chris Jericho taking on Orange Cassidy in a match that lasted over 20 minutes before Cassidy scored the win over the veteran. This was certainly a hard-fought victory for Freshly Squeezed, but the big story from this match wasn't the result, but rather the fans who didn't want to see it. In photos circulated online, many empty seats are seen as Jericho makes his entrance, signaling that the fans didn't want to stick around for his match. This isn't an isolated incident, as fans have expressed their disinterest in Jericho's recent matches on previous occasions, as fans have simply grown tired of the veteran. Despite the crowd reaction, Jericho doesn't seem ready to let his feud with Cassidy end anytime soon, as after his loss, he vowed to get revenge, leaving the door open for more matches. Now, it's been over a year since Adam Cole last wrestled for AEW, and while we don't know when he'll be back in the ring, he has been present at the company's events. PW Insider reports that Cole was backstage at this week's edition of Dynamite, leaving fans hopeful that he'll be returning sooner rather than later. Cole's most recent AEW moment was at Double or Nothing, where he was attacked by the returning MJF, and time will tell what AEW has in store for Cole when he's back on TV. Right now, WWE has a diverse collection of championships for talent to compete over, and as of late, there's been speculation that mid-card titles could be coming for main roster women. Such titles, which have been speculated on for months, could help elevate rising talent and provide more opportunities for wrestlers who may not be in the main event scene just yet. In a previous report, it was said that the titles had been discussed but nothing had been finalized, but now PWN report states that the titles are in the works and will be introduced soon. This news comes after WWE introduced its first women's mid-card title in NXT, as Kalani Jordan has held the North American women's title since June's Battleground event. Introducing the titles is a decision that will have to come from Triple H, who ever since his days running NXT has always sought to create new opportunities for the women's roster. Do you want to see mid-card championships be introduced for the WWE women's division in the future? Sound off in the comments down below and let us know. When NXT comes to St. Louis on October 8th, Randy Orton will be in action in his hometown, as the Viper will take on one of the Gold brand's hottest young stars, Javon Evans. This will be a huge match for Evans, arguably the biggest in his wrestling career to date, and his surprised reaction to this match seen on this week's NXT wasn't just for show. Bodyslam.net reports that Evans had no prior knowledge of the match and only learned about it during this week's NXT when Vic Joseph made the announcement, followed by a tweet from Orton. What do you think of this unexpected matchup? Do you think that Javon Evans is going to get bouncy on Randy Orton? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. In October 2022, JBL returned to WWE programming as the manager of Baron Corbin, a pairing that the WWE Hall of Famer had shared interest in doing for some time. Unfortunately, the pairing didn't work as the pair lacked chemistry, and the pair split in 2023, but that may not be the last we see of JBL in WWE. Appearing on the Huge Pop podcast, JBL said he's to blame for the pairing not working out, and said he doesn't want that to be his last memory in wrestling. Indeed, JBL is making new memories in wrestling as he's been appearing for several promotions as of late, including AAA, TNA Wrestling, MLW, and GCW. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select reports that JBL's presence at the GCW show felt like a hell-freezing over moment, especially given the rocky history between GCW and mainstream promotions. Nevertheless, JBL is once again garnering interest from fans who are eager to see where he appears next, as he intends to make sure his legacy doesn't end with Baron Corbin. And we're ending with Smackdown's premiere on the USA Network, where cameras showed notable names in the Seattle crowd, including Vicky Guerrero and Teddy Long. Rob Van Dam made an impact with his appearance, as he was seen with his wife Katie Forbes, and on his one-of-a-kind podcast, RVD shared how his appearance came about. Van Dam said he received the invitation with very little notice and was given just 1 day's notice as WWE contacted him on Wednesday and asked for him to leave the next day. Despite the short notice, RVD agreed to go, and we'll have to see if there's more in store for RVD on WWE TV, as fans loved seeing the Hall of Famer back after so long.